Welcome back to the Author Spotlight. I'm so glad you're here. We're in a new year, and this is our very first Author Spotlight to do this year. And it's been an amazing time. The pandemic has not killed reading. Readership is up globally, and our next guest is world traveled. She speaks many languages. And I'm so excited to bring her on. In fact, she's in Cyprus right now. And through the miracle of technology, Viola Edward is a multi-award personal and corporate advisor and mentor. She's a transcultural psychotherapist in breathwork, mentor, training, social entrepreneur. She works internationally with individuals and corporate clients in cross-pollination, self-development, management, and leadership, and how important that is right now, right? She's a pioneer in the area of wellness and mental health fitness in the workplace. In 1993, she became the CEO and co-founder of Grit Academy. And I love the Grit Academy. They're doing so many amazing things. And she's partnered with the Creative Women platform, and she's the co-creator of Breath Intelligence. She's the best-selling author of the book we're going to talk about today, Who Makes the Bed, but she's got other books as well, Breathing the Rhythm of Success, and we're going to talk to her today about relationships, and I'm so honored to have Viola Edward. How are you today in Cyprus?
Very happy today to be here with you. And Cyprus is sunny and beautiful weather, and we're so blessed to be here during this time. I'm so
for those
happy.
that have not been to Cyprus yet, where exactly is Cyprus?
Well, Cyprus is a Mediterranean island, which is very beautiful, amazing location. It's like, I would tell you, is a less than 40 minutes flight to Lebanon.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
With Lebanon, for those that know,
1 hour from Istanbul, 1 hour or so from Athens. Yes. Very, very well located.
To visit you. I can't wait to visit you.
Well, you're in as soon as the flight and airport are opened. You are most welcome.
Now, I've got a question. And first of all, congratulations for going #1 on Amazon.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
The consensus across the internet is Who Makes the Bed. Tell me about Who Makes the Bed, and where did this title come from, and what's this whole story about?
Yes. Well, for me, that I start my working life at such an early age, and I managed to get non-formal education, and managed to work, I managed to travel, I managed so many things, but there were one thing I couldn't manage, which is to stay in a relationship. So it took me long years to first understand myself and go into a process of a therapeutical process, mentoring process, and especially get balance from the loss and the victimacy that I get through, and the loss of my father, and the several migration that I went through. But still, I could not stay in a relationship. I just could escape after the first fight or discussion. I'm out. It's not gonna work. I'm out. So I become
and I think that's typical of a lot of young couples. I can remember when I first got married, she wanted donuts and I wanted big breakfast. And our first fight, first morning of the honeymoon, that lasted for 3 days. And I thought, what have I gotten myself into? But now when your friends tell me, when they look at you now, you and Michael, I mean, you're in love, you're affectionate in public, you're holding hands. How did you go from that to where you're at now all these years later?
Exactly. So it was a lot of work. And I remember one of my mentors asking me, Viola, will you marry yourself? And first answer was, hell no. Like, oh no, so complicated. But through the years, I think he asked me 2 or 3 times through the years when I will meet him as colleague now in different conferences. And one day, you know what happened? One day I said, of course I'll marry myself. I'm fun, attractive, clever, smart working, humanitarian, compassionate. And by then I already developed this course about the alchemy of emotion, and about what is your capital, which are your quality, and how to appreciate the self. And I think what happened to me is that I really become grounded in who I am, and accepting who I am, and really reshaping myself. And that was the time when I was just 40, then I met Michael, and I used to live in Venezuela, in Caracas. Michael used to live in south of France. We met in south of Spain, and still 3-4 years of distant relationship was not easy. And then we make the big decision. I make the big decision not only to go into a relationship, is to change country and to go to marriage. And that was really, people will not believe it. Like, and I did that step, and moved from Caracas to this small island, and that strength, that love, and then you arrive, and I'm sure that in the film will say the end, but actually it's not the end, it's the beginning, because then here you are with the person that you love, and now let's live. And how we're gonna live? These two culture, two so different, two different backgrounds. So it was quite difficult the first 2 years. I tell you, there is a lot of jokes about Michael calling the airline and saying, "Here she's coming again. Tell her there is no places, please, for tonight." And we created a joke together. Yes, you're right. You should leave, but just stay the night and leave tomorrow, because it took a lot of time. And then I understood. I knew it theoretically, but then I understood that love is not enough. And I understood how many couples that go to divorce and separation and a lot of pain, even though they are in love, because they need really communication, effective communication, and there is other thing that is needed in the relationship. So
Wow.
what I did, I experienced all that, and after like 13 years of more stability and not running away, then we start working about this book.
Well, you tackled several concepts there. You talked about distant relationships. You talked about cultural differences. You talk in your book about, one of my favorite chapters is about healing addictions. We're seeing addictions are running rampant, particularly during the pandemic. What would you say about distance relationships? I want to tackle that first because, in online dating world now, and people that are being upwardly mobile that can travel when there's not a lockdown, what would you say? I mean, it obviously worked for you. It took a while to overcome the cultural differences. What advice would you give to your 45-year-old self now? If you could go back in time, what would you give yourself more grace on?
Yeah. First, I would say to the 25 that used to, and 30 that used to be expert in distant relationship, because me, as many other people, we say we want relationship, but deep inside we don't want, because we use the wrong one. We choose the wrong one. We choose the most complicated one. Later on, when we heal and we mature and we look, it was like clear. It's just we didn't want to see it. Yeah. I had jokes about myself going back to the airport to say goodbye to somebody, and having the guard there saying, is not this the same woman who was here 3 months ago? It's not the same man, because I become, like expert in distant relationship.
Your story reads like a movie. It really does. That's what's so fascinating about it.
Well, I tell you.
Do you have a fear, though? Go ahead, and I want to ask my next question, but go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Once one of my psychotherapist teacher told me that if she will be reading a book of my story, half of the book she would say, "Oh, this author is already past the line." So there is many books about my story. Anyway, I would say for distant relationship, look, it's about commitment, it's about engagement. Nowadays, I know there is different way of meeting, but also you will know from the way how you talk with the other one when they really don't want to meet, when they really don't want to engage, when really they want more photos and more things, but not the meeting. So, it's very similar to also our time when we used to meet but not meet but not engage, meet but not really have the intimacy, connect sexually but not having intimacy, not daring at all, or not wanting to share at all. So it's about how, of course, that is okay for some time of our life, especially if you have emotional honesty, that this is what you need now. It's great. But I think a lot about this book is about getting into awareness of your own emotional honesty, and to be able to know what you're talking, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're dreaming, and how to align those things to get what you want.
Well, it's very powerful. It's called Who Makes the Bed. I want you to hold it up again. It just went #1 on Amazon. in philosophy category, and it'll be going #1. And for a limited time, you can get the ebook. We'll put it in the link here on Amazon for just 99 cents globally. And we want to say congratulations. You've got it in Spanish. It's available in Spanish. It's available in English. We're pushing it out at Beyond Publishing through multiple channels around the world. Now, you've got a chapter in here that I really love. I know you and Michael work very well together, but you talk about couples in relationships in business. With more and more individuals and couples staying home because of the pandemic, there's been a lot of reports in the news, sadly, of increased domestic violence and just trouble to get along because they're maybe together 24/7 and they're used to leaving every day to go to the office. What advice do you have? What nugget can you give us from this chapter? Because I got so much good information out of it.
Yes, I would say it's much easier to find a business partner than a lover, a husband, a partner of life. So if you try with your loving partner and it doesn't work in business, please let him go. Please try to find another partner. And if you can, and if life give you a chance, try again later when both of you mature. But also, it's not only, love is not enough. Good intention is not enough. You need to really sit together and create a vision, and also see what's the mission, and create a business plan, and see there your rhythm gonna come out. Like Michael, my publisher, was saying how good I work with Michael, my husband, my lover. And actually, in some areas we're not that good. We're good in certain areas, and we let go other areas because our rhythm are very different. Our especially the rhythm, because Michael is a poet, is an artist, is a writer, is a very detailed man, is an engineer. I'm coming from life experience. I'm this quite dynamic persona that my thought go very quick in the area that I manage. So our rhythm in some of the work we try to do together don't match. So we let it go, and we experience to do things that we really can do together. So this book, for example, we started writing for a local newspaper about conscious relationship for a year. We did an article of 2,000 words every week. You would think, oh, the relationship survived. But then later I took some chapter from that, and then we considered to publish the book together. But actually, we decided I'm going to publish it myself with my subject. But then his spirit, his soul was so much there. Then we come to an agreement, and then his poems are there. And this is an example of many times how we can make certain agreement. Is every couple can find strategies and way how to get the best of themselves. It doesn't have to be in a certain way. You can create your own way.
Good. This is so good here. I want to share some of the chapters because it's such practical, important takeaways. Falling in and out of love and intimacy. Chapter 3, the flow of communication. Chapter 4, which really spoke to me, is the paradigms limiting thought habits. I want to come back to that one. Chapter 5 is the transformation of sexuality, daring to be sexually healthy. The healing process of shared vision, where your subtitle is Crossing the Ocean. The couple as successful business partners. Healing addiction, revives intimacy. The rhythm of the breath and stress mastery. Image and intimacy, the beauty of touch, and letting love in. I want you to touch on a couple of these. I do want you to touch on breath and the importance of that, but also paradigms and limiting thought habits. How important are those two topics to any relationship?
Very important, because we come with a baggage. We are emotional being. We go everywhere with our emotions. And imagine me, when I met Michael at 40, I start living with him almost at 44. I had so many stories in my life already. I have so many grief and losses and pain. If I will not have take the responsibility to heal myself and to come as honest and as naked as possible to this relationship and pass off my losses, we will not have survived. So of course I was not totally done and perfect, because we are, as human beings, we are in like an ongoing process. We can be finished products in some areas, but ongoing process in another area. Yeah, for example, in the addiction, why I put this the addiction there, because I run into addiction. I'm in recovery from alcoholism now for many, many years, and I used to be a chain smoker that I stopped that, and also used to have certain addicted behavior like the anxiety, like could be we would nowadays I laugh about it, but I can get addicted to lettuce or to carrot. I'm a vegan. That is the habit, is the
These
is
are
the
better habits,
way.
though, right?
Exactly. So it's more about healing the addictive behavior
Yeah,
apart
and
from
identifying what drives it, right?
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. So
Well,
how
it's what I love about the work that you do. I do want you to touch on the breath work and give us, we want to give people a chance to get a hold of you, because I know you've got tools and resources on your website where people can go through and do the exercises. You really have this heart of giving, and you've helped so many women all over the world. Tell me how people can engage with you, and then maybe share something if somebody's overloaded with anxiety right now, what they can do to get to a peaceful place.
Yes. So it's very important to be aware and conscious about your breathing. Breathing is the first thing we did outside when we come to this world, and it will be the last thing we will do. So it's very important to be conscious of it. I know that if we're alive, we're breathing, but what is the quality of our breath? Depend of what is your quality of your breath is the quality of your life. For me, I learned how I was quarter of life was doing with all these cigarette I used to smoke, and also with the anxiety I used to suffer. So when I come into the connectedness of what does it mean, and inhale, connected with exhale, as you have all the time of the word to exhale, and learn how to connect it again with an inhale and another exhale, especially in time of creativity or in time of stress. I tell you something that you're gonna remember. I'm sure you're gonna remember this. When you're anxious, when you're stressed, it seems like there is an action and a reaction. It seems like you have a problem and there is only one solution to that problem, and you don't have that solution. And this situation will affect your breath and will take you to a dysfunctional breathing habit that maybe you develop in some time of your life before. So when you bring consciousness into your breathing, what's going to happen? That your brain going to get oxygenation and all your system going to open, and you're going to have a little bit more of awareness.
Wow.
And you see, before it was like this, now it's going to be like this. More option, more option, more option, many more option. Maybe none of those is the one you wanted, but there is so many options to
Oh,
one
I love
situation in
that.
life.
I
And that
love
is
that.
related with your breath.
That's like a parachute opening up. I mean, if your
Exactly.
parachute doesn't open, you're going to die. And I think there's a lot of people feeling suffocated in a relationship because they haven't given themselves the permission to forgive themselves. And I see a lot of grace embodied in you and Michael's relationship. It's just refreshing to see a couple that's been together as long as you have and having to love, because I think everybody looks at that and they're arguing over who makes the bed, but they don't realize if they'll just pay it forward and make the bed, that's gonna give their partner this feeling of love and intimacy and open up long term what you guys have and what you're showing to the world. I want to congratulate you, Viola. Your book has gone #1.
Thank
It's called
you.
Who Makes the Bed? And for another 12 hours only, you can get the ebook for just 99 cents US, which is $1 US. And depending on what country you're in, we have that book in 11 countries. Now, you're in Cyprus. Now, how many countries have you lived in, and how many languages do you speak? It always fascinates me to hear this.
Yeah, well, I work and in Spanish, English, and Arabic. I'm quite good in French, but not that good to work. I can manage to understand Italian. I can manage a little bit of Portuguese. And unfortunately, I forgot the first language, my first mother language, which was Aramaic, Assyrian, because I'm coming from that small ethnic group in the world that they speak Aramaic. And then my mother language changed to Arabic, and then it changed again to Spanish, and now we speak. So I have accent in all the languages I speak, but I do speak, as you see. I love to speak. I love
Yes.
to support you through my speaking. And I want to tell you a story about writing.
Mhm.
Actually, in the past, I could not write, and I could not never sit and be able to deliver something. And years ago, one of my students recorded me, because I do all my speeches from heart, almost never prepare my speeches or my teaching. And then they gave me those lesson I give. And when I saw it in the screen, and I start like put them together, and how these another talent start flowing out of me, it took years. And sometimes I need some correction because I can mix languages. But I really want to encourage you to keep saying the stories that you heard from your culture, that you keep saying your story and your wisdom. Find different way of saying it, and keep in love with book. Because when I was 5 years old, and it seems like I lost everything, it was a book who saved me. I will sleep with that book. I will sleep with book. And in my family, they never know, nobody know when I start reading, but books were my companion.
They were
And
your
it seems like
companion.
still are now from another side.
Well, you're going to come speak. You're going to come speak to our group at Beyond Publishing in London, July 2nd,
Yes,
and we're
yes,
looking forward to doing the author event in Cyprus. What's
yes.
the best way for people to get a hold of you, Viola? And I also want you to talk about your anthology book that you're launching soon, because you've got women, world-class women from all over the world that are going to be a part of the book. And you just have 2 or 3, I think, more openings. Who are you looking for to round out the final pick of authors for this book you're doing?
Yes. So we are, you can find me at Viola Edward without s.com. You can find me in social media with the same name. And also through my company that I share with my sister Layla is Grit, Grit, hyphen academy.co. And yes, and I will be, for now, usually I'm international in different country giving speeches and supporting different organization. And for now we are here, but I still do it online. So follow me on my social media, and you will see that I'm very active, and maybe I can support you. Where are you? In which moment of your life you are, and depending what do you need. And yes, we are having beautiful books. We just did one with you, Quarantine and Beyond, which was beautifully done, with the experience of different people. How did we live this quarantine? And now we're doing another book about women journey. We have, I'm co-author of 10 books already, and the number 11 and 12 coming soon. So keep connecting me and keep connecting. Also, Michael, if you have any idea or project about books.
Well, we're very excited, and I love the fact that you're global. We're global. We have authors in over 20 countries now, thanks to you. And it's been so fun working with you. And I'm going to keep your websites up here for a moment, because I know people are going to want to connect. They're going to want to find you. You're very active on social media and making things happen. What are the final words you want to say to somebody that maybe they're thinking about throwing in the towel in their relationship and giving up, on the mother or the father of their children and walking out? What would you say? What's kind of the assessment? What's the rule of thumb on how to know when to quit in a relationship versus when it's worth saving?
Yes, it's a very fine line, isn't it? Sometimes we really have to go out. We really, really staying in is not. I always remember that story of a friend of mine who stayed 20 years, and she was in a meeting with a master, and she said, "Master, I thought I have to stay because there were a lesson to learn." And the master tell her, "Yes, my daughter, you had a lesson to learn, and everything you needed to learn were in the first 2 years, because the
Mhm.
next 18 years were a repetition from the first 2 years." So
Mhm.
sometime we really need to go. If you have doubt, please, I have 4 things for you. First, please never, never, never live your pain alone. When you live your trauma and your pain alone, that will create more problem for your physical body, your emotional body, your holistic body. Secondly, talk. So you don't leave it alone. Choose somebody from your family, from your friend to speak with, and then look for a help, look for professional help. If this professional help, the first one you look for, was not good enough, look for another one and another one until you find a professional that can support you in the area where you are and that you can learn from the process.
Very good.
Because you know what? Life will take us out of balance. We need to learn and go back to balance. And fourth, remember who you are and how amazing you are. And fifth, be in a network. And when you are in a network, you can get something from them. And if you grow over them, you change the network.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to repeat family stories. So I think, and please reach out to me, reach out to anybody in the world in your language, and anybody that you reach out should respect your culture and the momentum in life that you are in.
That's very powerful. I love it. The book is called Who Makes the Bed? Viola Edward, best-selling author. Reach out to her. Jump on her website. If you've got a book in your heart, reach out to me. And at meetmichaeld.com, we'll jump on the calendar and talk about your book. Viola, congratulations. And I love the work you're doing around the world. I look forward to having you on my stage in London, July. And Happy New Year to you, and blessings to you and Michael. Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for being with us today. And I just love how you empower women and you empower men and women all over the world.
Get your grit out and join me in the grit programs too.
Thanks for being on the Author Spotlight, where we feature amazing authors like Viola around the world. Have a good day, friends.